Number one, a positive mental attitude. Observe that it heads the list. And second, sound physical health. And third, harmony in human relations. And fourth, freedom from fear. And fifth, the hope of future achievement. And sixth, the capacity for applied faith.
What happens now if you start to imagine that weight increasing? Just start to imagine that weight increasing in your eyelids.
Does that show my name?
Yeah. So your hand is locked tight, yeah? Yeah. You know what's your name? Summer, yeah? Okay, so you keep that in your head somewhere, don't you?
My name in my head?
It's not in your head?
No.
Where is it then?
I have no idea.
You don't know where your name is? How do you know what your name is? If you don't know where your name is, how do you know what it is? So what's your name? I know, it's weird, it just goes. But the weird thing is because your name has gone, your hand is, look, your hand opens. Look, see? Because your hand is open, your name has gone completely, hasn't it? Try and find it, try and say it. Try to even remember what the first letter was.
I totally know it now.
But for some reason it just doesn't come out, does it? I mean, really genuinely try. It's there in the back of your mind somewhere, but you just...
I love it so much, this is crazy.
Yeah? It's like an on-off switch. It's kind of like this weird on-off switch. So if you took your name and put it back, your name would be out of your mind and threw it away completely. As soon as it's gone completely, it's gone completely. How what's your name?
You're tripping me out. So good.
Well, look, we'll put
I've been introducing hypnosis into my daily routine, nightly routine more than anything. Hypnotism isn't magic. Hypnosis is not magic. It is a way to influence your mind, get a message from your conscious mind back to your subconscious mind, because your subconscious mind believes whatever it is told. I have always been fascinated by psychology. I remember when I was a teenager, I was already reading college level psychology books. I was reading about cognitive therapies and rational emotive therapies and various forms of shock therapies, which is not literally shocking you always. There's different methods, but although it could be shock, like they did in the old days. But I was studying involuntary recollection, states of involuntary recollection and phobias and, things that people experience. And I've always been fascinated by the mind, right? One thing that is profoundly powerful about our mind is our subconscious mind, which is going to be more active in the sleep states. You've got different states. You have beta, which is where you're wide awake, you have a cup of coffee like me, and you're like wide awake and you're ready to go and you're analyzing things and figuring things out and you're really productive, right? That would be a state of beta, where your mind's predominantly in beta waves. But it is still influenced by the subconscious, which I'll explain in a second. There is alpha, which is a state of hypnosis. According to Roy Hunter and many other famous hypnotists, they've talked about this where you are still conscious. Another word for hypnosis would be guided meditation. It's simply a way to get a message in your subconscious mind, but your conscious may still be alert. And then there's the delta state, which is what we go into. That is the final state we go into when we go to bed at night. Every single one of us goes through beta when we're awake. Then, as for me, I take my melatonin. I'll eat dinner, take my melatonin or valerian root, and I'll, get relaxed. I'll relax myself, sometimes listen to some hypnosis scripts, And slowly, when you become relaxed, when you get into a state of relaxation, your mind goes into a state of alpha, which means it's very easy to get a message at that point from your conscious mind to your subconscious mind. And then finally, when you fall asleep, you slip into a state of delta, where your brain is predominantly in delta, but it is communicating with your subconscious mind. So when it comes to somebody having phobias, if you have a phobia, social anxiety, if you have trouble with weight loss, smoking, different things, there are conscious triggers that trigger a subconscious response in your mind. Your subconscious believes whatever it's told. I mean, there are people that are afraid of water. There are people, that's more common. There are people that are afraid of dirt or fire, or there are people who are afraid of rocks. Like little rocks, it's just a rock. It's nothing to be afraid of. But something is happening in their subconscious mind that they're not aware of that is triggering that fear response and affecting them on a conscious level. And when we can change those responses on a subconscious level, if we can give our subconscious mind the message, in other words, whenever I feel hungry, my subconscious mind will know that will act as a trigger to understand that my body is simply burning off those fats that are needed, and it is breaking down those fats into chemicals and compounds and things that my body needs. Like, your body is very profound when it comes to survival, that's why you can fast. That's why some fasts are healthy. Intermittent fasting, you've probably heard of. I do it pretty much daily. Your body can break down fats and into ketones and other things to give yourself the energy that it needs to function, because your mind needs blood sugar, it needs, glucose, glycogen for the stores in your mind, for the everything day things that we do, especially those that are very productive when it comes to thinking and planning. And so you need those things, right? And so, but it doesn't mean you need refined sugar. Your body's very brilliant at being able to break things down. And so one of the triggers that you can focus on is programming your subconscious mind to understand that whenever you feel hungry, you don't have to go into a panic. You don't have to feel like, oh my God, I gotta eat. I have to have sugars because I need to survive. You can overcome that survival instinct to overeat or to eat the wrong foods at the wrong times by simply knowing that your body has the ability to take care of itself. It has the ability to adapt and survive and feed itself essentially what it needs. And so I've been very excited about hypnosis and playing with this and actually putting it to the test, because I'm noticing so many common traits between, triggers. We call them, in hypnosis, they call them triggers, right? Something that triggers a subconscious response. A negative trigger could be a social situation, like you go outside to get some fresh air, right? Fresh air. And you have a few people around, and that click of the lighter, that little click, that sound, that spark, that act of somebody lighting up is what triggers that emotional response in you, gives you that desire to light one up yourself, to smoke. And there's many triggers like that. I've never smoked, so I can't relate to that directly. I can relate to food and diet. But in psychology, they call this a state of involuntary recollection. And that's where I make the connection, is I can see, studying hypnosis, I can see I'm starting to connect the dots between, general studies in psychology, like Maslow talked about, and with self-actualization, understanding who you are as a person, what your purpose is, where your passions are. But in psychology, they call this a state of involuntary recollection, and it's simply a trigger. It's the same thing that the hypnotists are talking about. A rock could be that trigger of a phobia. There's nothing scary about this rock. It's in my Zen garden. I use it for meditation. But this can act as a trigger for somebody to evoke a negative response. Psychologists call that a state of involuntary recollection. For instance, maybe somebody had a tragic accident You know, you've heard of post-traumatic stress and things like this. And, you know, maybe somebody had had a tragic accident when they were very young. Maybe they were ejected from a vehicle and they landed near a rock. You know, now when they see rocks, even though they don't consciously realize it, they have this fear like they're going to die. Like, it's just automatic. Like, you just feel it, right? You don't have to give any conscious thought to it. It's a trigger. It is involuntary recollection. And so those would be good examples of like negative triggers. Positive triggers would be putting yourself in the driver's seat and saying, okay, here's what I want out of my life. Here are my goals. These are the things that I want to accomplish. You lay them out, you break them down into steps, and you begin to meditate on those things. Under states of hypnosis, you set triggers for yourself. One trigger for myself, if my top doesn't fall down, it's a new top, I'm still working with it. Anyway, now that I've triggered an emotional response in many of my audience. Anyway, so one of my triggers that I've set is simply clasping your fingers together like this. And you can do it with your hand on your lap, or you can do it up in the air. And I will simply, under a stressful situation, like especially in the semi-truck.
I'm a high flyer. I got the right stuff. I'm the king of heart. I got the good stuff. It's gonna be forever. It's gonna be forever.
There are so many cases where people cut me off, and I have a few choice words to say to those people, because that is an appropriate emotional response for that situation. It may not be the healthiest, but are they deserving of being called an a-hole? I think so. So many times we take on negative emotions when that person has no clue we called him an a-hole. Whether we call them choice words or not, that person drives down the road acting like an idiot. And all we do is get ourselves riled up and get pissed off, and then we're stressed out, and then we've boosted our stress hormones, and here we are, the ones stressing out, and they're unaffected by it. So one of the things that I will do under stressful situations, especially, or any time that I want to relax or calm down, or just take a little mental vacation, very quickly, is under deep states of hypnosis, I've trained myself that when I clasp my fingers together like this, take a deep breath, release, and I say, relax. Like that, just relax. And then if I still want to call him an a-hole, I call him an a-hole.
I'm the king of heart. Got the good stuff.
But the difference this time is, I don't hold on to those feelings. I don't hang on to those. They're not dragging me down. It is like, relax. That guy is an a-hole. He's not going to get very far in life. Relax. That is pretty much my process when I want to get out of a stressful situation. And it really does work, because it becomes a state of involuntary recollection. The moment you clasp your fingers together and say those words, your mind triggers a response that's automatic, and you will begin to feel those feelings of relaxation, those feelings of confidence. You know, whether you're wanting to lose weight, maybe you're struggling with, oh my God, I'm starving, I just want so much food. You can set triggers for yourself to where you evoke a certain emotional response that you want to bring you closer to the outcome that you desire. And so the benefits are obvious when it comes to setting our goals and to going after the things that we want in life. You know, whether that's, I want more confidence. You know, I want to be more confident with people. I want to overcome social anxiety, or, you know, I want to be more successful at my job. I don't want to take on the stress that's all around me. It's really the fuel. It is the fuel to put you in overdrive to achieve those goals and get you where you want to go in life by simply programming your mind for success for those things. How many would like to program their mind to automatically go to the gym every day? I mean, if that's ingrained in your mind, you have certain triggers, it becomes addictive to work out. Like, you'll talk to a few people. I'm not saying it's always the most pleasant experience, but, you know, people that really get into it and have an emotional association with working out, you know, maybe it's listening to music, or it's adding something that gives you an emotional passion, or it's that seeing yourself, you know, how good you would look in a bikini, you know, when you're done. But that emotional response, if you can attach that to that goal of working out and set it with a trigger, then every day when you encounter that trigger, you begin to crave working out. You begin to just do it automatically. I've done it with my little bunny weights, I call them, and I work out several times a day. Like, I don't even think about it. It's just like I do it, and the results are amazing. So I am very, very excited. I'm so excited to finish this book. I'm working on some of my own hypnosis scripts in my own words and things that have helped me, and I am hoping to share them with you as well. Anyway, that's enough for now. I love you guys, and more very soon.